there's a couple names that you need to make sure you understand. Ptah, P-T-A-H. Ptah is the first male deity in history. And look at the number they give you on 240, saying that this goes back 9,000 years. So this is really not very old. Okay. Before that, they talked about the 8 gods, the stellar, lunar, and Ptah becomes the 9th character in the development or advent of the gods as we know them. We went from 7, the moon was 8, Ptah is 9. Okay? But Ptah,
9th god.
yes. Ptah and the 7 netters, or his associate gods, create a place called Amenta.
Say that again.
Ptah. I'm on page 240.
I see.
The second paragraph, actually. Or, now the followers of creation are the phase of the solar cult, which has been called the cult of Ptah, who with the 7 assistants formed Amenta. Amenta which later gets perverted into hell, is the hole they dug through the earth. Now keep in mind, the sun goes down. They don't have any idea of how to get it back. So they create a hole through the earth from which the sun can travel through so it can come back the next day. Okay? Now, so just understand, this is the first male. This is the creator of the place called Amenta, and kind of what these things turn into later in today's religion. The foundation of the fatherhood was laid by combining 8 power spirits to the one, to combine into a single deity to be worshipped as the one true and eternal spirit. So, in the 3rd paragraph down is where you now begin to see the formation of what becomes the Godhead and what we know of God today. It's all getting packaged into one as opposed to these separate parcels. The little picture on the next page is Ptah creating what's known as the earth, and then on the page after that, he's creating man. Called the Ptah cycle.
And so this would just be their conception of how they think things came into being. This is just
Changing things up. Okay, they come up with their rendition of the story. So
This is actually where it changes.
that's right. This is where everything changes. Unfortunately, the changing of everything takes the truth out of the story, though. You see what I'm saying? Prior to this event right now, everything these people had experienced and said and did was predicated on the reality they experienced.
And it was, in essence, still factual reality.
Yeah, yeah. It was all fact-based, okay? Now, you got some people messing with this stuff, putting in their interpretation. Again, because man has, the first people have kind of left. And they took that old knowledge with them, okay? We've had an exodus or two by now, okay? So the people that actually knew the old, hey, this is what the real story is, okay? They have either passed on or they have left. So now what you have is the young bucks establishing their position and authority, and they're doing things their way. Now, that's all well and good, except for what happens is you go from, okay, let me back up. The pyramid, so you understand how significant this building is. They said the pyramid is the equivalent of 7.5 football fields. That's how the base of it, that's how big this thing is. And one side of it gives you your exact length for the year as you know it. Okay? So they did all of this building to leave a record of the laws of the world, the universe, how it actually worked, and here it is in stone. Okay? So man would have a record of how to live, just like the 10 Commandments or whatever you want to call them today. Okay? Now, when you get away from this and the reality, and you don't understand what this is, now you built you a whole other monument. You have a Sphinx. Okay? And this thing is based on stuff rising and falling with the sun. Well, here, that's all well and good until you have to factor in there's a wobble to the story. Okay? The earth is not just going like this, it's wobbling. Okay? So if you're using the sun, you're going to have a little variance there, which we know is leap year. Okay? Every 4 years, you got to add in another day because of the wobble. Now, if you do this over hundreds and thousands of years, look at how inaccurate your record will be. So it tells later on here that not only do these guys actually not know all the real data, but they have to periodically go back and get the stellar priest to correct the time of these events. Because keep in mind, as Dolores would say, everything they're doing is still based upon being able to produce crops and when this Nile is going to flood. Okay? That inundation is significant. So when you get away from Sophis, which is the star in the sky signaling the inundation. Everybody still with me? And that is, in our calendar, in our world, that would be the 21st of December. The winter equinox. Okay? They are beginning the flood where they are. That's significant because, I don't know if you've been watching, there's a television thing. I don't even know I found it, but it was on Africa. And they were showing the different seasons. When the dry season is blighted, there's nothing going on. It's very difficult to survive over there during the dry season. So when the rains come, that's significant. Well, that's even more true for these folks who their whole existence is based upon them being able to produce agriculture. Now, when you throw off the actual time cycles for when to do things, just like here versus the growing season in Missouri versus the growing season in Minnesota is considerably different. So you can see you could grow things here and survive much longer than that little. In Minnesota, you actually have 3 months.
Small window.
That's right. And if you miss that mark, you're in bad shape. For the year, you're in trouble. Okay? Okay, so 241, Ptah or Atum presents as a form of the same duality. And then he gets into a lot of stuff showing you different places around the world that has it. But in Egyptian Genesis, created man is Tum, later Atum or Amun. The original first man. Okay? See that? You need to highlight or underline that because here's the beginning of your Adam story. Atum was the son of the creator Ptah, the earliest bound parent, meaning dual parent. So Ptah at this point is taking on the aspects of being both male and female into one. The seven primordial powers had previously recognized in nature as the offspring of the mother. 6 were pre-human powers, souls developed from external elements, which we know. The 7th, or earliest human soul, born the blood mother, is the child imaged as a child horse. But everything on this page, again, is predicated on the female until you get down okay, in the middle of the page, it says the 2 other powers were added to make up the total in the Ptah cycle. Double permanent essence assigned to Ptah. Ptah gave birth to man, or created his son Atum. See that down in the...
Yeah.
Here Atum, Adam, has a mother in the... and they omitted... See that? Put a circle around that part. This is where they extract the female out of the story.